In this video, I'm going to show you how you can implement this dead simple meta ad strategy that has literally helped us close 3 6K USD deals in the last 3 weeks without needing to go viral or hit the algorithm on Instagram. And the goal here isn't to turn you into a meta ads expert. I started off with organic content. By no means am I a meta ads expert, but this system, because it was so simple, allowed me to get more leads, more conversations, more calls booked, and ultimately more clients, which means cash in the bank for myself and also for you if you use it. The way we do this is literally by amplifying organic content that already works and putting spend behind it so that we get more traffic towards our Instagram, LinkedIn, or TikTok profile. I'm going to show you real quick over here a screenshot of our Meta Ads Manager. So for example, this is from the past 30 days where we've had results like 18 cents for a profile visit. Here we've got 7 cents for a profile visit, and same thing over here with a decent amount of spend behind each of them. And essentially, since our profile is really optimized on IG, a lot of these profile visits turn into followers. We reach out to every single follower, which then makes them leads for us. So this system buys you leads at a very, very cheap amount, as you've seen over here. So section 1, just to talk about what an ad is. An ad is a megaphone. It's a megaphone, it's an amplifier. So if you amplify shit, you're just gonna get more shit. But if you amplify something that works, and when I say something that works, I mean qualified followers, qualified engagers, and qualified people commenting on your content, you'll get a reflection of that base result. So if you have a piece of content that got loads of followers that were qualified for your business and you amplify that, you're just gonna get more of the same results. This is the case on every single platform, by the way. These platforms work the same. The algorithms basically work the same, and they have the same boosting feature. There's a few minor differences, for example, on LinkedIn, but on Instagram and TikTok, it's very, very similar. And so the reason why this is so important and why it can help you so much if you're a business owner who's using content to market, but you're not a content creator at heart, is because this system solves the main problem that stops most businesses from actually succeeding, which is traffic. If you have traffic, you can literally build any business you want. And that's a principle that I'll back for the rest of my life. For example, one of the clients that we had recently is called Cameron. He's got 230K followers on Instagram. He joined us around a month ago. And after 3 days of joining us, he closed his first 6K deal because he had traffic. He had a lot of followers. And all he had to do was to create an offer, point some of those followers towards that offer, and then have a sales conversation with them and then close them. And that's exactly what he did, thanks to traffic. But if you don't have traffic, if you don't have 230K followers, that's completely fine because you can use something like this. And what traffic does is that it brings eyeballs towards your profile. And if your profile is nice, people will follow. If people follow and you reach out to them, it means that you'll have more sales conversations. If you have more sales conversations, you'll get more calls booked, more clients, etc. So it's essential that you use ads as a system for bringing you what most of us crave, which is predictability in our sales funnels. Ads are dead simple. You're not engineering a funnel or writing ad copy from scratch. All you got to do using the system is to find a piece of content that already works, where your ICP or the person that you want to work with engages with, and then add some money into it so you can get more of those people to view that piece of content. Super simple, and it's what we call the amplification framework. The reason why this matters for you specifically is that most people at your stage make one of two mistakes. They run ads too early before they know what content works, and they burn money on the wrong message and targeting, or they just never run ads at all and they go on the, oh no, I want to go purely organic grind, and they inject pride into the process. And they also wonder why growth is so slow. It's because they're not using something like this. And before you go ahead and attack me being like, no, organic works just fine, I was the exact same. And I'm not saying organic doesn't work. It works great if you can post amazing content. But for most of us, we're business owners who are trying to use content to market. And content is a skill like any other that we have to learn. And content is a very hard skill because you have to be very creative about it. So if you don't have those skills, or if you don't have the time to learn those skills and you want results now, you can use this to bypass all of that. So the amplification framework sidesteps both of these problems. Number one, you use organic to do the testing, your organic content becomes your laboratory where you're trying to find the outliers or the winners that you can amplify later on. And then paid just does the scaling. So this means that you don't have to go viral. You don't have to hit a 100K view video to get the traffic that you want. You just need to find one outlier that performs slightly better than the rest, and the amplification framework will do its job. And you don't have to spend a single dollar until the market has told you what it likes. The key insight over here is that the algorithms on Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok, they're already A/B testing your content for free. Every reel or carousel that you've posted, what Instagram will do, for example, is it'll show that piece of content to a sample cohort of both followers and non-followers. And if that piece of content has good engagement and a good retention graph, so if people stay on the video, it's going to shoot it over to a new and bigger cohort. So what this means is that the process is quite objective. So if your post doesn't do well organically, it means it was most likely shit. But if it does well, or if it does better than the previous ones that you've posted, it means that it is an outlier, which is something that you can put some spend on. What to look for in like content that performs. So views are, they can be vanity metrics. That said, if you don't get views, the thing that you can go ahead and look for is engagement with your qualified follower or a qualified ICP. Again, ICP is the persona that you want to work with your business. So if you see likes, saves, and comments from people who match your client persona, that's a good signal. If you get new followers from content that match your buyer persona, that's a good signal too. If you also have qualified ICP who comment on your videos, that's a really good signal too. And obviously the best signal is if you get DMs from strangers. If you have a cold DM or an inbound DM from a piece of content, that's gold that piece of content made somebody take action. And that's something that would be amplified or increase if you put spend behind it. So you start to get the gist of exactly what this system does right now, right? So the reason why people quit ads, and it's very important to go ahead and address this because this is a long-term play. You're not going to see immediate results here, but you will see results in the long term. So the reason why people pull the plug early is they say like, I couldn't track anything, so I turned it off. Or they'll do the classic mistake where they'll just put 500 pounds into the Meta Ads Manager. They wouldn't see any obvious or quick return, so they killed the entire campaign. That's not how this amplification framework works. So ads at $5 to $10 a day, they're not a revenue machine. They are a follower and a signal machine. Because most of the time what happens is when somebody goes into your profile, sure, a few of them may go ahead and buy straight away. These are called lay down leads. But most of the time when somebody follows you, what they'll do is they'll bounce around your ecosystem. They'll see your stories, they'll see your organic content, they'll watch your YouTube videos, and it'll take them a few days, if not weeks, if not months, before they're finally ready to hop on a sales conversation with you. So what this framework does is it just speeds up that entire process and gets more people into that process so that you start getting pings of calls booked or new conversations down the line. This is how it works. So if you boost a post, you're going to get a ton of new follows, and then you're going to reach out to everybody over DM to start a conversation. At the same time, your organic content is doing the nurturing work where it's building trust over time, and people are seeing your stories, they're seeing your reels, and they're in a conversation with you, and all these things working together create a pre-sold prospect, which then lets you have a sales conversation with them, which then lets you book them onto a call, because no one's going to hop on a call with you unless they trust you, they know what you do, and they know that you can back what you do. And all these things work together with boosted posts. So for example, if you only had organic, you would just have less people going into this flow. But with boosted posts, you're going to get a lot more people getting warmed and building trust with your organic content, and therefore more sales conversations. The basic flow is ads pump visits into the profile, the DMs convert followers into new conversations, content does the selling before you even speak or as you speak, and you close somebody when they're fully bought into you thanks to you bringing them in using ads in the first place. So I'm going to go through these things really quickly. Like the things that you should track over here is you should track the new followers that come in from the posts. Are the right people finding you? You can look at the quality of the followers on the Instagram page. You want to also check the, like I said, quality of the new followers. Are they your ideal client persona, Or is this just like random noise? If you're getting people who are not at all qualified on your offer coming in from the ads, kill it. And the next thing is you want to check out the cost per ICP follower to see if you buying each follower is either cheap or expensive. If it's cheap, you run it. If it's expensive, you kill it. So for example, over here, we have a Instagram creative or reel that we amplified. So for example, we had these two right here, this one and this one. This one, our cost per Instagram profile visit was 18 cents, but we got 297 follows with 905 spend, which means that each follower cost us £3, which is actually quite good because that means each lead is worth £3. Slightly more expensive because on the other one, we got almost double or more than double the results. We got 809 followers with less spend, and each follower was worth £1, which is insane. I was buying followers for £1 and starting conversations with literally every single one of them. And one thing I will say though, is that the ones over here that were more expensive were more qualified because of the creative. And the one over here, which was cheaper, were slightly less qualified because it was a more accessible, easy to digest reel that we went ahead and amplified. So I want to show you guys this so you know exactly what the costs are and what to look out for. And also to show you that sometimes getting leads for your business is dead fucking cheap because all you need to do once you get these guys is to have a really, really good DM process. If you look on my channel, there's also other videos where I walk through exactly how to go ahead and send DMs to people in a way that brings them towards a call booking. You can go ahead and check that out and book some calls and drop me a message on Instagram once you've gotten some nice little sales. So next section, how do you find your winners? So before you even go on the ads platform, you want to really go ahead and dial your ideal client persona document. You can't amplify a message that speaks to everybody because you're just going to get a ton of fluff. If you want to go ahead and run this amplification framework, your content needs to be super, super targeted because if you bring in people who are not qualified for your offer, you're just going to be spending money on fluff, like I said before. But if you're super targeted, then you can go ahead and shoot content to a specific persona and have them come into your profile in volume using your amplification framework. So what you want to go ahead and look out for is you want to, on a piece of paper or a Notion document or Google Doc, write down who is this person, what is their age, where do they work, what is their income level, where do they spend most of their time, do they have a girlfriend, are they a boy or a girl? Write all these things down, list down their number one problems, and give a lot of detail to those pain points because the more you're able to call out pain points, the more people will relate to your piece of content and therefore stick with it. You also want to write things down like what have they already tried that didn't work, what the success looked like for them, and what other accounts do they follow, and what other types of content do they consume. And this is going to give you a really good idea of targeting. So if you can have this or dial this in and be really, really sharp with your ideal client persona, your content will be sharp and your ads will be sharp when you amplify them. And sharp ads bring in very specific people, and you want very specific people working with you. So everything starts over here. And by the way, this document is not a one-time task. It's a living reference that evolves and changes every time you get new data from the people that you work with, right? Every piece of content, every hook, every ad creative needs to be filtered through this persona sheet. And if the content doesn't speak to this person, it doesn't get boosted because you're not going to get the right people from the amplification framework if you do so. The common mistake that people do is that they go ahead and write the persona down from their own assumptions. I want you to remove all ego from this process and really go ahead and work off of live data. And how do you get live data? Is you fucking ask people. I'm sure right now, if you're running a business, you probably have people in your network who would be qualified to work with you or who would know people who would be qualified to work with you. And all you got to do now is make a list of those guys and ask them for an interview where you ask them questions about this. And they will literally tell you their problems themselves. And live information coming from a live ICP is gold for targeting. And this will always beat what you think and feel. All right. So next step is you want to shoot content for that one person until you find a winner. All right. Winners are not just in the views. Views are vanity. A winning piece is something that gets saves, follows, and DMs from your ICP like we discussed before. And the way you identify a winner is you want to look at a 2 to X average save rate from a single post. You want to see who's liking. If you look at their profiles and they're qualified for you, then that's a good post as well. And you want to see if you're getting any DMs from that post too. So before you post anything, do a lot of volume. Post like 20 pieces of content aimed at your ICP. And once you post 20 pieces of content, and by the way, I used to post 5 times a day before, and it would take me only 4 days to go ahead and get 20 posts. And with 20 posts, you've got something very key, which is data. You've got data on the winners, the outliers, the ones that just didn't work at all. And once you've got that data, you can go ahead and dump $5 a day on that piece of content using the Meta Ads platform. Go in the Meta Ads Manager or your Meta Business Suite. It's so simple. You can go to a section that's called Content, and you can click Boost on that piece of content and choose the amount of money that you want to spend. Very, very simple. Nothing complicated to it. And like this, you'll number one, bypass the in-app boost button, which has like fees. And you can go directly on Meta Ads where it's a lot easier, a lot cheaper, and you don't pay these extra fees. And if you want, if you're lazy, if you're scared of Meta Ads, you can go and boost in-app if it removes the barrier to get you moving. But it has a ceiling, no split testing, minimal data. And as soon as you see traction in that creative, you want to go ahead and move towards the Meta Ads platform. So have a 7-day review checklist. Is the spend burning normally? So if a creative is getting spend, it means that Meta sees potential in it. And you want to see if you're getting any new followers, any profile visits. And on day 5, you want to go ahead and see if any of the new followers are ICP quality. And this is important because when you boost a post or when you add a post into the Meta Ads Manager, in the beginning, it calibrates. So that means that it doesn't know who to shoot your content to yet. But if your post is targeted and you get your ICP liking it and following you from it, the Meta AI will be able to see that and then go ahead and send it to more of those guys, which is why you want to wait a few days. And day 7, you want to go ahead and ask yourself 2 questions. Did the ICP quality people engage, and did the follower quality improve? That's when you know you've got a winner. And if yes to both, increase the spend. If no, kill the ad. You also want to look at your cost per follower. If you're buying a follower for anything more than £3, which is like 5 USD, it's quite expensive. If it's below that, it's cheap and you can keep on running it. So the one rule that holds all this together is organic content first. Use organic content as a laboratory, as a testing grounds. Go in volume, film some yaps, shoot content to get as much data to validate ideas and then double down on them. And organic is what's going to allow you to have conviction that an ad creative is going to work well for you or whether it's not. And it's very simple. The algorithm will show you. You have tons of insights on the Instagram platform that show you what the retention graph was, how many likes you got, where the people are viewing you from, what your skip rate was. All those things apply to ads as well because ads are shown on the algorithm. And I'm sure that when you're scrolling on Instagram, you're seeing these ads, and if they're shit, you skip through. But if they're not shit and they're targeted to you, sometimes you watch them. And you want to hit I will sometimes get an ICP watching my video because afterwards they'll click through, right? So action items right now: create that ICP persona doc, set up a simple tracking sheet for each of your ads. And then every single week, you want to review your tracking sheets, find the outliers, and then put spend on those outliers, and then DM every single new ICP follower so that you can have more sales conversations. Cool.